Hello, beautiful one. This is the Raw and Wild Hearts podcast. I'm your host and guide, Lori Rising, star channeler, transformational mentor, and sacred guide of lifetimes. It is my mission to reawaken the ancient encoded knowledge, the sacred wisdom, and evolutionary truths that pulsate within every one of our cells. Join me in curiosity, intuitive guidance, and inspirational conversations where I will stand on the precipice with you. We did not come to dim our lights or play small. So I say, let's get to it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. It's called Be Your Best Channeler. Y'all, I have been sitting with this for a while. It's been a hot minute while I've been noticing all of the channelers that are actually coming online, and they are sharing their messages and their downloads and their transmissions. And it's amazing, right? It is so beautiful. And also, if that's all they're doing is translating the frequency that's coming through and sharing it in their words, it's always going to have their interpretation based on language coming through with it as well. The best channelers are actually reminding you that you have everything within you to reawaken this connection and knowledge, the innate guidance that is literally coming online right now. So I want to get into this episode by talking about what went down last night in the dreams. It's pretty incredible, and I have a little story for you. So I always wake up around 6, no matter what time I went to sleep. And at that point, I either play a meditation or I do my own meditation. And I'll either go back to sleep or I will meditate and then get up for the day. Well, this morning I went back to sleep and I had such a powerful, profound dream experience. But really, it was the conscious waking reality that came in after I woke up. That was the confirmation. It was the guidance. It was the path into what wants to be known in my world. But it was also the reality that we have been upgraded. There was a major spiritual and consciousness ascension that went down last night. And when I woke up, I already knew how powerful this was. It's like the light language starts singing through my soul when these kinds of breakthroughs come to pass. But then y'all, I saw a message in one of my communities because they all have their own threads and groups where everyone interacts. And one of the retreat participants was talking about her dream last night and how she woke up in the declaration, in the knowledge, in just the truth that there had been a deep shift in the frequency. And she just knew. She knew it had happened. She knew it had arrived. And by sharing in this thread, I was able to confirm for her my experience, and then someone else joined in with her ascension that went down yesterday as well. So y'all, this is the power of declaring yourself a channel. You are a channel. You are an energy worker. This is how we came in these beautiful vessels, in this highest technology. And the real tragedy is that we've been separated from it for so long, and we've been lacking that community care and that ancestral wisdom that was meant to foster these unique gifts and the individual divine voice that only we can hear. And more on that to come, but let me get back to my story because it's just juicy. It feels really sacred and exciting because I feel like something has been born out of this. A seed has been planted that has already started showing up in the physicality. And this, my friends, is the manifestation of our lives. This is how we create in ease, believe in the energy, start in the energy, and work in the energy, and allow the physicality to appear along the way. It literally unfolds into our lives. Okay, so the person who showed up in my dream in really beautiful ways is Matias de Stefano. And I know of him. I follow him on IG. I haven't really dropped deeply into his world, but it's like I have this light connection with him. And we know we get each other, right? We are in that vibe. We both came in as star seeds and have had quite the powerful and colorful unfolding since then. So our stories are very similar. But to be honest with you, I think it's been months since I've seen him in any of my channels or kind of had a whiff of his energy. And he just suddenly appeared in my dream last night. And it was really just like that crystalline energy. It just felt so good. It felt so elevated and blissful. Like the entire interaction that we were having was really rad. And it was so specific. Like I am hella curious because in my dream, I asked him his big three of astrology, his sun, rising, and moon. And after I woke up, I really just let myself sit and absorb everything that unfolded, not just between us. My sister was there. My mom was there. It was at my old lake house. But I think I remember the three that were in the dream for the sun, the rising, and the moon. The rising is a little iffy, but I'm pretty sure I've got a grasp on what it was. So eventually I am going to do some investigative work to see how accurate those three came through in our cosmic consciousness connection because, y'all, it was profound. So I woke up. I don't usually get on my phone right when I wake up, but something called me to get right onto the phone, and I opened Instagram, and the very first post that showed up on my Instagram was Matias in an interview on his channel. And I was like, yeah, of course. There's a message for me here. So I listened to the interview and I started listening to the in-depth interview, and I only got a little bit in, but I already got the message that was there for me. Now, I believe that something bigger is going to unfold and something has really started to open up between me and Matias, and maybe we're going to come together at some point to share our light and sacred knowledge. And y'all, I am here for it. So I am putting that call out to the universe right now. But I wanted to share that with you just to solidify what really can happen when we allow ourselves to follow the intuitive hits, that guidance that is leading us places. Because like I said, I have a pretty strict policy about not getting immediately on my screen when I wake up. But because I followed that energy that was pulling me in a way that wasn't my habit, that wasn't my rule, even though that rule is a really good one to stay in a divine connection and in my circadian rhythm, I listen to what's coming through because this has become a way of life for me. And the trust has been the key player in it all. And then, of course, I started moving through my day and things had just gotten lit up in a new way that hasn't been there in quite a few weeks, if not since the total solar eclipse in Aries. And then I got those messages in my communities and I was like, yep. And then I saw that we are on track for the largest geomagnetic storm in history that's supposed to hit on May 12th. So y'all know what this means. First of all, for me, it means I might get to see the northern lights from my property again. These are the miracles. This is the magic that is happening in our world. You know, I shared a reel recently that was all about what is reality. Because the deeper I go into my containers, whether they are retreats or masterminds, like whatever they are, because they are so multidimensional and we work on such an integrative plane that the rest of this life doesn't even feel real. Like it feels like such a hologram. As we know, we are living in a hologram, as above, so below, as within, so without. But like what we've been sold is reality, and how we've had to hustle and grind and stress for it. Like my cells are coming to this hell no on that. And the guided meditations and activations that are channeled in my group containers, those feel like reality more and more and more. I mean, I crave them. And now when I'm on hiatus from the high touch mentorship and masterminds and retreats, I'm like, I don't feel right. It feels off. It feels a little bit like I'm flailing, because the guidance that comes through in those spaces is so powerful, and it comes through in such ease. That's where we're going. So becoming your very best channeler is about finding and investing in those spaces where you have full witness, where you have full unconditioned, where you are moving through the multi-layered being that we are. It's now all about the energy, the frequency, the light, the sound, the physical body, and then the mind. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know what I coined it as the new Earth Soul Flow. And the awakening to that is so real. It is so lit right now. Now, let's get back to what really has been going down since the total solar eclipse, because you've probably felt a lot of doubt, maybe lack in your life. Maybe you've just had this flat energy, feeling uninspired. Maybe you're feeling despair or doom or gloom. I've been right there with you. And this is the space where we hold the light line, allow ourselves to feel it, flow through it, move through it, clear it, and trust that something deep is being reorganized at a foundational level that hasn't come conscious for us yet. And this is the period we are just entering now, which is where all of the enlightenment, the epiphanies, the accelerated energies is about to turn on. So I've been talking about that as well. I've been trying to keep you in the game, trusting that the energies are going to absolutely open up, that you're going to get the downloads, you're going to have the new opportunities and possibilities pop up for you. But this is where the work comes in. And this is where becoming your very best channeler is such a wild, beautiful support, because then you're available to hear them. You're available to pivot, move, turn, spiral, vortex, whatever it is, open the portal and go the new way. Create the quantum leaps in your life. Now, as we move forward in life, this is going to get more and more normalized. Remember, y'all, we are the light holders. We are the gate keepers. We are opening these golden gates. We are disrupting generations and thousands of years of mind control, of force, hustle, grind, comparison, lack, scarcity, familial trauma, and wounds. I've been talking about this for probably about 20 years in my therapeutic practice, especially as I got deeper and deeper into functional medicine and epigenetics. It's actually not that it's genetic. It's the belief that it's genetic. So yes, our genes and our DNA can be predisposed to something or a symptom, but they get turned on and off. We are the activators of that. And what it really comes down to is the subconscious beliefs and patterns we've been running. They become the environment of our cells and DNA. Don't get me wrong, though. We make this a lot harder than it is with our toxic world and food, but this is actually proven time and again through the placebo effect. More than that, though, we are seeing miraculous cures and reversals happening through the law of assumption, the true guttural cellular belief of a wish fulfilled that leads it to existence. I'll believe it when I see it is what we are disrupting at the root to our actual multidimensional reality, which is I will see it when I believe it. How does that feel when you hear those words? Does it feel possible within you? So, I mean, if you follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, you know that we can be superhuman. Anybody can, but it is an intention. It's not a given. We've been trying to go through life on autopilot, and that means we just continue to perpetuate those subconscious beliefs and patterns that have been handed down through the DNA because we haven't disrupted them yet. We are so miraculous. We are our best healer. We are the earth. That's what Matias was talking about today on the Instagram reel. And of course, I was like, yeah, I've been talking about this too. Like, we are the nature, we are the earth, we are the stars. We are made up of the same minerals, salts, sacred water. And the earth holds so much of the medicine that we actually need. Unfortunately, we're having to work backwards now because we have been raised in reactionary medicine, belief, creation. So yeah, we definitely have our work cut out for us on the patterns, the physical symptoms, the emotional wounds, the imprints, the traumas that have been living in our cells. And y'all, the time is now. This is it. We have so much support. I mean, this evolution is off the charts. I know that you've probably been feeling uncomfortable and maybe even some of that doom and gloom. But again, we have to feel it in order to surface it and heal it. And so when you do the work, when you come back to your alignment practices, when you show up to these beautiful sacred communities, when you really let yourself be vulnerable, intimate, and brave in a way that you never have before, that's literally the elixir. So the discomfort that we feel more and more is because we're still trying to show up to life in the way that our parents did, our grandparents did, our great-grandparents did, our friends, our colleagues, the way that we learned in a masculine energy that's been fractured. And believe me, I totally get it. It takes so much intention to come back time and again, to allow yourself to receive, to flow, to trust, and to take the inspired risk, which is not the easy risk. It's going to be the risk that takes you to your edge and beyond so that you can expand your capacity to receive more, to be more, to share more, to live your frequency. No one else's, yours. And that is where becoming your best channeler is going to catapult you into remembering all of it. The Akashic records, the unified field, the quantum realm, the sacred knowledge in your language, in the way that your divine blueprint is set up to receive when you are truly listening from a place of belief that you're the one. You are the one. No one else is the one. You are the one. And my friends, we are activating deep spaces of confidence, of independence, of passion, of fire, of pioneering the life that we truly, deeply, utterly desire. So listen, there's a lot of astrology I could talk about right now, but what's coming through is for me to just highlight Chiron in Aries. This is the generation that's here. I'm part of it, P.S. This is the generation that's here to remind humanity that the body is the highest technology, which is the age of Aquarius. But Chiron in Aries is healing the separation of the body, the mind, the spirit, and the energy, and also healing how we show up in the world fully as we are, not as someone told us to be. And I mean, that's a very deep wound from our childhood, being reared by parents that were doing the best that they could, but also transferring a lot of their pains and traumas and unhealed wounds while we were little sponges just soaking it all up. So I do want to bring this back full circle to something I shared at the beginning of the episode, which was about channelers out there, just channeling the groups and the messages and the things like that. You've got to notice if you're in the shiny object syndrome, where it just creates this release of pressure or this hope just by listening to the messages over and over and over. That's not the work. That's not you becoming the channeler. That's going to lead you in your life in really big, impactful ways, in ways that your mind could never even comprehend. And if those channelers are just out there sharing the messages and not sharing ways for you to be activating and alchemizing your deepest states of empowered consciousness, then keep searching, because so many conscious thought leaders are really coming alive and coming online. But this is where you use the Saturn in Pisces. You use that discernment. You really feel in your cells what's true for you, what's right for you, what's aligned for you, and what's alive for you. Because those are going to be the paths that open up something really big in your world. Just like I know there is something deeper with this dream with Matias for me. And so now I go to work putting it into the energy. I'm not trying to force anything in the physicality. This is where we get to come back time and again and practice, practice, practice. The reason that I have such a clear channel and I can trust it so deeply is because I have made it my life's work. It is a non-negotiable for me. Even when I'm feeling confused or disconnected or even a little lost, I can trust that those are the periods where something is being rearranged in the foundation. And as extensions of all of it, the frequency of the earth, the magnetic field, the light that's pouring onto the earth of the cosmos, we have to allow ourselves time to integrate, alchemize, and expand it all. So especially right now, as these downloads are starting to come through, as this storm is approaching fast, you might be feeling physical symptoms in your body. So I want you to notice if you move back to that habitual reaction of fear, and then the stories that you start creating, because that's what our linear medical system has programmed into us, that there's something terribly wrong. And then I want you to do the real work, which is coming back in and being the best guide and leader of your life. And that includes getting aligned in the meditation, using your breath work, clearing the energy, creating space for all that's arriving and wants to be integrated into these little tiny bodies. We are like the tiniest extensions of the ginormous consciousness all around. And really start taking radical accountability and responsibility for this. How deeply do you desire to feel good, to heal, to unentangle, to be liberated in your life? Are you hydrating? What kinds of foods are you eating? Are you numbing yourself out? Are you showing up to really feel what wants to be revealed? What's really coming up to be healed? Are you being curious about it? Are you exploring all the areas of life that are surfacing, not to take you down, actually to rise you up? How powerfully can you find and activate the present moment? Because in that space where relaxation lives, so does all of the new possibilities and potentials of your life. And if you have worked with me, you know, you definitely know, it's not always or usually an easy ride, but the ascension is lit. Because I am here to do the embodied root transformation, to clear those old stories, to clear those emotional and physical imprints within the cells so that you get to liberate your life and you become the clearest channel to access all of the light, all of the downloads, all of the transmissions that come through your language. I help you discern that. between the overactive, overthinking, hyper-controlled mind that leads us to constriction and resistance, and the intuitive hits, the innate guidance that do not linger. And beautiful souls, I am here for results. That is my mission. That is my purpose. That is my passion. So I do want to tell you about an event that I have coming up this Monday. It's called Lead Your Life, based on this entire foundational work. It's about leading our life before we think we're ready, because that is where we have to become the expanders, where we grow our nervous system from a place of imagination, of visualization, and softening. We are definitely going to be working with the laws of the universe and who we are being to raise the frequency that magnetizes our deepest dreams and desires beyond the self-doubt, beyond the worry, the procrastination, or even the comparison. And we're going to be doing this in a really fun channeled format, which creates this nice dynamic of the group where we are showing up in our full authenticity and truth and curiosity, because that is where you start leading your life in a beautiful space of intimacy and vulnerability, which actually are your superpowers, because once you start leading yourself there, you'll never stop. You'll never stop yourself again. Even when you have those moments that might flash in, right? Because these patterns, these beliefs, they go deep and they continue to try to infiltrate us from the continual fear and scarcity that's put out on a mass scale in society. And we already have beautiful introductions happening in the channel. So I'm going to link it below, which gives you an opportunity to practice this right now. I want you to at least check out the page, see how it feels in your heart, notice what happens in your mind and the resistance or the blocks or rationalizations for why you can't join this powerful circle of souls that may just be so automatic for you that you don't pay attention to that. This is where you start taking the inspired risk or the leap from your channel, because your channel is not the rationalizing mind. This is the discernment I want to make for you. When we do things from a perceived space of safety and security that was actually learned from our parents when we were kids, we're not in the reality of what's available now. And when we listen to our hearts, the feeling that's showing up for us, it actually creates a flow. And when you're in a flow, I'm going to be super real with you. Anything you do is going to bring something more. It's always going to lead you further, higher, and bigger because of the flow and trust that you're in. We are getting messages sent to us all day long. Are we paying attention? This is the practice. This is how we deepen our channel. But it takes the trust to take the aligned action and risk from there. The other opportunity I want to share with you about this is about the investment. So I work in real-time results, and I take the opportunity always to help us activate it within our full body, like our actual experience. And this would have been a free offer of mine because it literally is my lead magnet into my big summer extravaganza event, which is called the Next Octave Mastermind and Retreat Experience. And it's so powerful. But I decided to make this a small investment because I wanted people to start practicing moving beyond the fear brain and limiting stories that are holding them back. And I put it at a price that I felt like was definitely reasonable to change your life. Like $28 to have a week-long experience during the biggest geomagnetic upgrade that we've ever experienced as humanity is pretty rad, right? To have the support and guidance of me during a major ascension process, and also have a group of beautiful souls that are doing it with you, that believe in it, is the thing that will quantum leap you. Now, you can keep moving through these ascension phases. P.S. I don't know if I made this clear, but this is the biggest one yet, by yourself. And maybe you go backwards every time we go through that foundational reorganization where it's like we can't find the enlightenments and epiphanies, and maybe our physical body isn't feeling well because we're not really caring for it the way that it needs while it's doing so much work in its energy and frequency. Or you could invest $28 and have an amazing experience that is fun, exciting, transformational, and lit up in great ascension codes, downloads, and transmissions that brings you deeper into the channel that is your life, which actually ends up transforming the belief system that you have to always look for something outside of you to feel better or feel safe. I don't know. What do you think here? But you see what I'm saying? This is why I give you an opportunity to actually expand your nervous system and to move beyond the mind programs, stories, and arguments of your limitation, because I know you're going to get results. I'm not worried about that. I don't even know exactly what we're going to be doing because it always gets channeled. And whoever shows up in my containers is the energy that brings the portal to us. And the last thing I want to say about it, which is so cool, because there are definitely times, especially in the soul business, that my human avatar does get wrapped up in the whole like, oh my gosh, I don't even feel like marketing this. The launching is hard, blah, 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 right? I start moving through all those stories, especially because we've been in a deep period of matrix revelations since the total solar Aries eclipse. And that one landed in my first house, which is the first house of self. Now, here's the cool thing. Because I am so clear with my channel and I trust it so much, even when it doesn't make sense to me, I still go ahead with whatever's moving through, whatever wants to be born and come alive in the physical world. This event, Lead Your Life, wanted to come alive. It wasn't planned at all as part of the Next Octave retreat and summer experience. And it definitely added a pressure and a little bit of a stress because of time and me fitting everything in. And I didn't even look at the astrology or what was coming up when I put this out because I was in the middle of going on my Pacific Northwest tour. I've been gone for the last 3.5 weeks. Things have been pretty hectic and chaotic in my world. And as spirit would have it, the Lead Your Life event is literally beginning on the day that the Mercury post-retrograde shadow lifts. And it's beginning the day after this major geomagnetic storm is hitting. And I didn't even really start to look into anything until today, after that spiritually ascended dream and that clear upgrade that came through. And that's just always the confirmation for me. And it always helps me build that muscle of trust, even when it doesn't make sense. And to be honest with you, I have had a heck of a time in the launch for the Lead Your Life event. So I've just been letting myself go really slow and take all of the opportunities to not let stress sink in. That is where I practice. I practice going deeply into what becomes available in every way, not just in one way, in every way. So this is an upgrade for myself as well. And then, dun, 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 I get all kinds of energy in the 11th hour because of the galactic activation that is already pouring onto the planet. And here I am with you. I got the energy to create and share a podcast. So I hope that this podcast has been super supportive and helpful for you. And I hope no matter what, it reminds you that you have every possibility and potential to get super clear in your own channel. And I'll come back to what I say a time again. This is an intention. It's not a given. You are so absorptive. You are such an energetic being that whatever you are taking in around you will become your beliefs. You have to create the environment that relentlessly holds your highest and biggest potential possible until it becomes normalized for you. So, I do hope to see you inside of this channel event. I hope to be a source of your biggest inspiration, your biggest epiphanies, downloads, and ascension yet. And no matter what, I hope I get to offer you an opportunity to practice being so clear and deliberate and declared within your heart, your soul, your energy, and your own channel, especially when it doesn't make sense to the mind stories you've been practicing. And I'd also love to take this moment to humbly request your subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and your star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. They really do help the show to grow. The online world is more saturated than ever. And so those of us that are building in our soul business and mission really rely on your support in this area. It's just like sending a text message. So it doesn't take more than a couple minutes, and it would just mean the world to me and to everyone who has already given me their star rating and review. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you would like to know more about my various offers, containers, communities, and support, head on over to my hub at therawandwildhearts.com. It's a whole vibe. I know you're going to love it. And if you're ready to finally catapult yourself beyond the limitations and the struggles and the stories, jump in to lead your life. We begin this Monday, May 13th. I can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much for listening. Happy ascension, happy upgrade. Stay hydrated. Take your electrolytes and your trace minerals. And don't forget to keep looking up